Hey everyone, I hope you're having a good day. I have actually decided to start narrating a few more of my videos, so it might take me a little bit longer to get the videos processed, but I'm trying to do more narration, so hopefully I can explain things and tell you about the products a little bit more, and hopefully this will work out. So I'm using the Amy Tangerine stamp set here and my new Fiskars stamp press, and I just got this and I have wanted it for a long time, but I ordered it basically for the Amy Tan, that little chevron piece stamp. Because I couldn't stamp it very well, and I actually learned that it just doesn't stamp perfectly for me. I don't know why. I've tried literally everything that I can think of, and it just, if you press it too hard, I seem to get a big air bubble in there and have a big white spot. And if I press too lightly, of course, it doesn't print right. So I just went with a medium pressure and I tried to press all over, and I've had mixed results, but I finally decided to just go with it because I wanted to make this card. I had this idea for this card, and so I just decided to go with it, imperfections and all. So I picked out a few of my favorite chalk inks, and I just decided to do it this way. So what you see underneath there is actually like a stitching pad, like a piercing mat, and I just flipped it upside down so I could stamp on it and it wouldn't ink up the mat, and that gives me a little bit of cushion underneath. And then with the Fiskars stamp press having those foam pads on the four corners, it seems to work pretty well to give me a good press on some of my larger stamps. So anyway, on the top I did that purpley color and then yellow in the middle and then this teal at the bottom, and I just kind of lined it up. I did the chevrons going different ways. That yellow is a little bit harder to see, and I'm sorry for my big head being there, but I was trying to get it lined up pretty well. So I just stamped the 3 in a row, and it wasn't perfectly lined up or anything, and I end up with a gap in between the yellow and the blue, and then a little bit of white space there at the bottom. I'm just going to cut that off though and make it into a regular card. And to clean my stamps, this would technically fit in my stamp cleaner, my scrubber pad, but I just wipe it off with a baby wipe because the chalk inks actually don't work very well in my stamp scrubber. The pigment ink or the chalk ink just doesn't seem to want to come off as well. So I just trim the card down a little bit, and I have some other cardstock here that I'm going to make just a really simple card base out of. It's just plain white. And as always, you just cut that piece in half. I just make a little mark with my fingernail, cut it down there, and fold it over. So it's pretty simple. And like I said, I've wanted to use that Amy Tan stamp set for so long, but some of the images just didn't fit well on my smaller stamping block, and some of my bigger stamp block just doesn't work very well. I think it's too rigid and too hard. Like there's no give to it at all. So that's why I ended up just buying the stamp press. And so far I'm pretty happy with it. It is a lot larger than I thought it was going to be, but it works pretty well. So the card base is a standard size, but it was a little too big for this card, for the chevron base. So I barely measured it. I started off, I think, with 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, and that was still a little bit too big. So I just ended up cutting it down to size. And when I got where I liked it, I just kind of stopped. So I have no idea what card size this is. I'm just going to put it in a regular envelope, and it'll be a little bit small in there, but that doesn't really bother me. I'm not going to look for the perfect envelope for a card or try to make a card fit a standard size if that's just not going to work. So here I have some pop dots that I just bought at Michael's, and I normally prefer the Stampin' Up! Pop dots because they're a little bit thinner. You get a little bit of that dimension, but this actually gives you a lot of dimension because these are pretty thick. So generally I don't use them a lot because I already have a lot of texture or layers on cards or scrapbook layouts. But for this card, since it was so simple, I did go ahead and use these thicker pop dots. And they're kind of hard to peel off because you do pop them out of the foam. So you have to end up peeling off both sides instead of peeling it off. But hey, it works. And then, as you can see a little bit off to the left there, I have two images. One is a bicycle and one is a balloon, and those are both from the Dear Lizzie collection, the Daydreamer collection. And I was originally going to make this card in two different color schemes and make two versions of it, but I only recorded one, and I decided to go ahead and use the bicycle on this one. And it pretty much will take up the whole front of the card, but I prefer it that way because on the inside I'm going to put something like "You're going places" or something like that. So I don't know if it'll be like a graduation card or just a kind of encouragement card or a going away card. I just basically left it blank, but I just had this image in my head of using that bicycle on a card with that color scheme, and I really like the way it turned out. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with more layouts. Have a great night.